I lent my farm land to my son-in-law. Caught him plotting to sell it on BARN cameras. The morning sun cut across the ridge like a blade. Dust kicked up from the gravel lot behind the main BARN, catching the light in slow, lazy spirals. The county fairgrounds had been transformed. Folding chairs in neat white rows. A wooden podium draped in red, white, and blue bunting. A microphone stand that caught the wind and sent a low hum through the speakers. 600 people sat in the heat. Ramirez in stained caps. Bankers in stiff collar RS. A few reporters from the local paper, notepads balanced on their knees. The DeKalb County land transfer ceremony. An annual ritual. A handshake in public. A way to make sure the land stayed in the family, or at least in the county. Jacob Hale sat in the front row, third seat from the left. His hands rested on his thighs, palms down. He wore his only suit, brown wool, bought 7 years ago for his daughter's wedding. The elbows were thin. The collar was frayed. He did not fidget. He did not check his watch. He watched the podium and waited. His son-in-law, Derek Cross, stood at the microphone. Derek wore a charcoal suit that cost more than Jacob's first tractor. His hair was slicked back, his smile was wide, and his right hand rested on the wooden podium like he owned it. He adjusted the microphone and tapped it twice. Feedback squealed through the speakers. "Good morning, everyone," Derek said. His voice a practiced wa rmth. "Thank you for coming out to celebrate this historic transfer. My father-in-law, Jacob, has decided to pass the steway rodship of his 500 acres to me and my wife, Emily. It's a gesture of trust, a gesture of family." He paused for applause. It came, polite and thin. Jacob watched Derek's left hand, the one not on the podium. It hovered in his pocket. A habit, a tell. Jacob had seen it 100 times. When Derek was lying, his left hand drifted to his pocket. Not inside, not touching, just hovering. Like he was reaching for something he did not want anyone to see. Derek continued. "Jacob has worked this land for 40 years. 40 years of sweat. 40 years of dawns and dust. And now, he's trusting me to CARRY that legacy 4-way road. I won't let him down." Another pause. More applause. The woman next to Jacob, a neighbor named C.A. Roll, reached over and patted his arm. "That's wonderful, Jake. You must be so proud." Jacob did not nod. He did not smile. He watched Derek's left hand hover over the pocket. Then Derek turned slightly, facing the crowd, but also facing a group of men in the back row. 3 men in RK sunglasses. They wore suits that did not fit the county. One had a gold ring on his pinky. Another had a flat, SCA red jaw. They did not applaud. They leaned 4-way RD, elbows on their knees, like they were waiting for a punchline. Derek read his throat. "There have been some rumors," he said. "Some whispers about my intentions. I want to put those to rest. I love this land. I love this family. And I would never do anything to harm the legacy Jacob built." He reached into his pocket. The left one. Jacob's eyes tracked the movement. Derek pulled out a folded piece of paper. He held it up. The crowd leaned in. "This," Derek said, "is the transfer agreement. Signed by Jacob himself. He's giving me full control, full ownership. It's not just a lease anymore. It's a gift." He unfolded the paper with a flourish. The sun caught the edge and made it glow. The crowd applauded again, louder this time. Derek turned to Jacob. His smile was a blade. "Jacob, would you like to say a few words? Tell everyone how much this means to you." Jacob rose from his chair. His knees cracked. His spine straightened. He walked to the podium slowly. Every step measured. Every second deliberate. The crowd quieted. The microphone hummed. Jacob looked at Derek. He looked at the paper in Derek's hand. He looked at the 3 men in the back row. He said, "I lent you my land, Derek. I did not give it to you." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Derek's smile flickered. The men in the back row exchanged glances. Jacob continued. "The agreement is a lease. 5 years. With an option to renew. The signatures, on the first page. But the second page, the one that lists the terms, that page is not signed. Because you never brought it to me. You brought only the first page. You told me it was the whole document." Derek laughed. A sharp, brittle sound. "Jacob, you're confused. The memory goes. It happens to all of us. Maybe you should sit down." Jacob did not sit down. He took one step closer to the microphone. "The second page," he said, The one with the terms says the land cannot be sold. It cannot be transferred. It cannot be subdivided. It stays in my name until I die. Then it goes to Emily, not to you. The crowd shifted. A woman in the second row whispered to her husband. The reporter from the local paper STA Root writing faster. Derek's face changed. The practiced while RMTH drained out. The smile tightened into a rictus. He stepped closer to Jacob, close enough that the microphone picked up his breath. You old fool, he said. His voice was low, but the microphone amplified it. You think that paper matters? You think a piece of paper can stop what's already in motion? He turned to the crowd. His voice rose. I have a buyer. A developer. They're going to turn this dust bowl into a resort. Golf course. Condos. A spa. 500 acres of pa radius. And you people, you F.A. Ramirez, you're going to be the ones serving drinks. The crowd erupted. Angry shouts. A man in the fifth row stood up. Another followed. The men in the back row stood too, but they did not shout. They smiled. Derek held up the paper again. This paper says the land is mine, and I have the law on my side. My lawyers, my investors, they all agree. The county clerk signed off. The transfer is valid. Jacob signed it. His signature is right there. He thrust the paper towel. R.D. Jacob. Look at it. Look at your own name. You signed it. You gave it to me. Jacob looked. His signature was there. Blue ink. Clea R. and firm. He had signed it 3 months ago, in his kitchen, over a cup of coffee. Derek had said it was just a renewal of the lease. Just a formality. Jacob had trusted him. I signed the first page, Jacob said. I never signed the second. And I never signed the third, the one that says, bill of sale. Derek's smile returned. Wider now. There is no third page. You're seeing things. Jacob reached into his own pocket. The right one. He pulled out a folded document. Cream paper. Legal size. He unfolded it slowly. The crowd watched. The sun caught the edge and made it glowed. This is the third page, Jacob said. You gave it to me last week. You said it was a copy of the lease for my records. But it's not. It's a bill of sale. It says I sold the land to Derek Cross for $1. And it says the sale is final. No takebacks. Derek's face went pale. The men in the back row stopped smiling. But you made one mistake, Jacob said. You used the wrong paper. The lease was on bond paper. This bill of sale is on regular or copy paper. And you signed it first. Then you tried to make me sign it second. But I read it before I signed. I saw what it was. And I kept it. Derek lunged for the paper. Jacob stepped back. The crowd ROA read. A man in a checkered shirt intercepted Derek, grabbed his ARM. Derek twisted free and stumbled against the podium. The microphone crashed to the ground with a hollow bang. You can't do this, Derek shouted. His voice cracked. I have a contract with the developer. I have a deposit. $200,000 RS. If this falls through, I'm ruined. Jacob tucked the paper back into his pocket. He looked at Derek with eyes that had seen 40 RS of dust and drought. You should have stopped at the lease, he said. You should have F.A. remed the land. You should have taken C.A. re of my daughter. Instead, you plotted. And you put it all on camera. Derek froze. What? Jacob looked past him. Tower Road, the BARN. The big one. The one with the weathered red paint and the rusted tin roof. I have cameras in that BARN. You knew about the ones in the tack room. You didn't know about the ones in the rafters. The ones that see the whole floor. The ones that hear everything. He pulled out his phone. The screen glowed. A video loaded. Grainy, but clear are enough. The image showed the BARN floor. Derek stood in the center, surrounded by the 3 men into RK glasses. The timestamp read, 10 days ago. The audio crackled through the phone speaker. Derek's voice, Shah RP, and excited. Sell it all. Every acre. By the end of the month. The old man will be in a home by then. He won't know the difference. The crowd went silent. 600 people, not a single breath. The video continued. Derek pulled out a map. Spread it on a hay bale. Pointed at sections. Here's where the main building goes. Here's the pool. Here's the golf course. The old man's house, we bulldoze it. First thing. The video ended. Jacob lowered the phone. His hand was steady. Derek's face was a mask of panic. His left hand drifted to his pocket again. Hovered. Then he turned and ran. He shoved through the crowd, knocked over 2 folding chairs, and Desape read into the parking lot. The 3 men into RK glasses followed. They moved fast, but they did not run. They walked with purpose, Like men who had other places to be. The crowd erupted again. Shouts. Questions. A woman screamed. A man bellowed for order. The reporter from the local paper was on her phone, already dialing. Jacob stepped away from the podium. He did not look at the crowd. He did not acknowledge the shouts. He walked to the edge of the stage, down the wooden steps, and into the shadow of the BARNCA roll caught up to him. Jake, what are you going to do, Emily? Is she okay, Derek? He's going to come back. Jacob held up a hand. She stopped. He looked back at the fairgrounds. The folding chairs. The bunting. The empty podium. The crowd, still churning with noise and confusion. He said, I'm going to the courthouse. I'm filing the bill of sale. With the third page. And the video. And I'm filing for divorce. On Emily's behalf. She doesn't know yet. But she will. CA roll STA read at him. But Jake, the FARM, Jacob said, stays in the family. Derek never touched it. He never owned it. He never will. He turned away. He walked toward his truck, an old Ford with a dented tailgate. His boots crunched the gravel. The sun was higher now, hotter. Dust rose from his footsteps. He did not look back at the Ford's engine coughed to life. Jacob sat behind the wheel, both hands on the leather grip, his knuckles white against the sun-faded texture. The dashboard clock read 9:47. The ceremony had ended at 9:15. It had felt like 3 hours. He put the truck in HAR and rolled out of the fairgrounds. The courthouse was 20 minutes east. County seat. White columns. A green lawn that was always a shade too perfect. Jacob had been there 3 times in his life. Twice for property tax disputes. Once to post bail for a FARM hand who had gotten drunk and driven a tractor into the mayor's fence. He drove slow. His mind was not on the road. It was on the video. On Derek's voice. On the way Derek had pointed at the map and gestured toward Jacob's house. The one he had built with his own hands. The one where Emily had grown up. The house he had planned to die in. The video was not the only evidence. There was more. Jacob had been installing cameras for 3 years. Ever since the first deer poachers had STA route cutting his fences. He had Ned where to hide them. In the eaves. Behind the feed bins. In the hollow of an old oak NEA or the creek. Most of them were motion activated. Some recorded sound. All of them backed up to a secure server in a data center 3 states away. The BARN had 6 cameras. The tack room ones were obvious. The rafters ones were not. They were small, black, no bigger than a thumb. They had recorded Derek's meetings with the developers, with the bankers, with the lawyer in the gray suit who had drawn up the fake bill of sale. Jacob had watched every frame. He had watched Derek laugh about how easy it was, about how the old man would never know, about how Emily would get over it once the money came in. Emily. Jacob's jaw tightened. His daughter had married Derek 4 years ago. She had been 24. Bright. Hopeful. Derek had been charming then. A go-getter. A man with plans. He had worked at a feed store. He had talked about expanding. He had talked about ownership. Now he talked about condos. Jacob pulled into the courthouse lot. He parked next to a sheriff's cruiser. The deputy inside was reading a newspaper. He did not look up. Jacob walked through the front doors, past the metal detector, and up the marble stairs to the county clerk's office. The clerk was a woman named Patricia. She had been there for 30 years. She knew Jacob by name. She knew his signature. She knew the shape of his land better than most surveyors. Jacob, she said. I heard about the ceremony. The transfer. Everything okay. Jacob set the folded papers on the counter. I need to file a bill of sale. And an injunction. And a restraining order. Patricia raised an eyebrow. A restraining order against who? Derek Cross. My son-in-law. She picked up the bill of sale. She read it. Her face went from curious to blank. Ha road. This is forged. It was never signed by me, Jacob said. He tried to pass it off as a lease renewal. The lease was on bond paper. This is copy paper. I kept it. I never signed it. Patricia nodded. She reached for a stamp. Red ink. She pressed it onto the document. Filed with prejudice. Then she looked up. The injunction. What do you need? Jacob pulled out a second document. Handwritten. Neat block letters. It listed every camera. Every timestamp. Every conversation. It named the 3 men in the back row. Americus Webb, Leona Road Thorne, and Hank Driscoll. It named the developer. Crestview Holdings, out of Atlanta. It named the amount of the deposit, $200,000 RS. Patricia read it. Her eyes widened. She pulled out a phone and made a call. A low voice. Short words. Then she hung up and turned to Jacob. The judge is in. He wants to see you. Now. Jacob followed her down a hallway. Past the water fountain. Past the doors marked Judge Chambers. He stopped outside a heavy oak door. Patricia knocked. A voice said, "Enter." Judge H.A. Rold Vance was a heavy man with a white beard and eyes that had seen too many custody battles. He gestured for Jacob to sit. Jacob sat. He placed the papers on the desk. Judge Vance read them. He read the bill of sale. He read the injunction. He read the list of cameras and timestamps. Then he leaned back. His chair creaked. "Mr. Hale," he said. "Do you have the video?" Jacob pulled out his phone. He played it. The judge watched without expression. When the video ended, he nodded. "Enough," he said. "I'll sign the injunction. The land is frozen. No sale. No transfer. No subdivision. No construction. Anyone who tries is in contempt. Sheriff's office will be informed within the hour." Jacob waited. The judge picked up a pen. He signed. Then he signed again. Then he stamped the documents with a heavy brass seal. He pushed the papers to R.D. Jacob. "You have 2 weeks to file a full civil suit. Fraud. Forgery. Conspiracy. I suggest you do it. And I suggest you get a good lawyer." "I have one," Jacob said. He's standing outside. Judge Vance's eyes flicked to the door. "You have a lawyer present. I have a former federal prosecutor. He retired here. He FARMS 40 acres NEA Army. Name is Whitlock." Judge Vance nodded. "Whitlock. Good man. I tried a case against him 30 years ago. He won." Jacob stood. He took the papers. He walked back through the hallway, past the water fountain, past Patricia's desk, and out the front doors. Whitlock was leaning against a truck. Same model as Jacob's, but darker blue. He was a tall man, thin, with a face like a hawk. He held a coffee cup in one hand and a legal pad in the other. "Got it?" Whitlock asked that Jacob handed him the papers. Whitlock scanned them. Then he looked up. "The video. You showed the judge." "I showed him." "Good. Then we have a STA routing point. But there's more. I've been doing some digging. That developer, Crestview Holdings, they're not just building a resort. They're building a casino. They've been buying up land all over the county. Quietly. Through shell companies." Jacob's eyes narrowed. A casino, legalized gambling, is coming to this state. Next year's ballot. Crestview is positioning themselves to be the first. Your land is prime location. 500 acres. Frontage on the highway. NEA are the river. They need it. They've already bought 200 acres from the McAllisters and another 80 from the Binghams. Nobody told me. Because they didn't want you to know. Derek was their inside man. He was supposed to get the land cheap. $1. Then they'd transfer it to a shell company, and he'd get a cut of the profits. 10%. Jacob's jaw tightened. "How much estimated?" 10% of 200 million. Jacob exhaled. It was a long, slow breath. He had worked 40 years. He had paid off the mortgage. He had saved enough to live on. He had never seen 200 million in his life. 10% of that was 20 million. Derek had been willing to sell Jacob's land, his daughter's future, for 20 million. Whitlock tossed his coffee cup into a trash can. "We have 2 weeks. The civil suit. We also have the police. Fraud is a criminal offense. Forgery is a felony. They can be arrested." "Not yet," Jacob said. "Wait." Whitlock studied him. "Wait for what?" Jacob looked past him. Tawa rode the parking lot. The sheriff's cruiser was still there. The deputy was still reading his newspaper. The sun was high now. The heat was beginning to feel real. "I need to talk to Emily," Jacob said. "She doesn't know yet. About the video. About the fake sale. About any of it. She thinks she's married to a man who loves her. She thinks he's been working hard. She's going to find out different." Whitlock nodded. "You want to tell her yourself?" "I want to show her the video," Jacob said. "I want her to see it. I want her to see his face when he said he'd bulldoze the house. I want her to see the smile. That's going to be hard. That's the point," Jacob said. H.A. Road is the only way she'll believe it." He turned and walked back to his truck. Whitlock followed. They drove in silence, 2 trucks, one behind the other, down the county road, past the fields of corn and soybean, past the McAllister property and the Bingham property, past the sign that read, "Hale FARMS, ST 1984. Jacob's phone buzzed. A text from Emily. "Daddy, where are you? I just got to the fairgrounds. They said there was a fight." Jacob pulled over. He typed a reply. Slow and deliberate. Come to the house. We need to talk. It's about Derek. 3 dots app A read. Then a reply. Is he okay? Did something happen? Jacob Sta read at the screen. His thumb hovered over the Kiboe road. Then he typed, he's fine. But you need to see something. He put the phone down and pulled back onto the road. The house was 5 minutes away. The lane was lined with oaks. The front porch had a swing that Emily had painted blue. The dogs, 2 border collies, came running as the truck rolled up. Jacob got out. He did not pet the dogs. He walked up the steps. He sat in the blue swing. He waited. Whitlock pulled in behind him. He stayed in his truck, engine idling. 20 minutes later, Emily Ca. Our app A read. A silver sedan, newer than anything Jacob owned. She parked in the gravel and got out. She was wearing a sundress. Her hair was pulled back. Her eyes were worried. Daddy, what happened? The text. The ceremony. People saying Derek ran off. Jacob stood. He held out his phone. Watch this. He played the video. Emily watched. Her face went through a catalog of emotions. Curiosity, confusion, then horror, then grief, then a cold, flat anger that Jacob recognized. She had his eyes. She had his temper. When the video ended, she did not cry. She did not scream. She looked at Jacob and said, "Where is he?" "I don't know." "He ran." "Did he take the car, the truck?" "The new one." Emily pulled out her own phone. She dialed. It went to voicemail. She dialed again. Voicemail. She shoved the phone into her pocket. "I'm going to find him," she said. "And I'm going to make him talk. And then I'm going to divorce him. Today. Right now. Today." Jacob put a hand on her shoulder. "I already filed the injunction. The land is frozen. He can't sell it. He can't touch it. He can't even step on it without being arrested." Emily looked at him. Her eyes were wet, but her voice was steady. "You did that." "I did. Without telling me. I didn't want to tell you until I had proof. Now I have proof." She read at the phone in her hand. The video was still paused. Derek's face frozen mid-laugh. "I'm all right, a stranger," she said. "I slept next to a stranger. I made plans with a stranger." Jacob did not answer. He had no words for that. He had never been good with words. Whitlock got out of his truck. He walked over. "Emily, I'm Whitlock. I'm your father's lawyer. We have a civil suit filed. We have a criminal case pending. I need you to come with me to the police station. I need you to file a statement. Your statement, as his wife, will be critical." Emily nodded. She walked to Whitlock's truck. She got in. She did not look back. Jacob watched the truck drive down the lane. The dust settled. The dogs circled. The sun was directly overhead. He stood on the porch for a long time, looking at the fields. The corn was waist-high. The soybeans were dark green. The creek at the far edge glittered in the light. He pulled out his phone. He pulled up the security app. He scrolled through the camera feed. The barn was empty. The tack room was empty. The hay loft was empty. Then he switched to the camera behind the house. The one the tool shed. A figure moved across the screen. A man. Dark suit. Dark glasses. Marcus web. He was walking toward the back door. Fast. Jacob put the phone in his pocket. He walked off the porch. He met Marcus Webb at the edge of the road. The sun was hot. The dust was thick. Jacob said, "You're trespassing." Marcus smiled. "I'm here to talk. Talk fast." Marcus tilted his head. "Derek is gone." Desape read. "We can't find him. He took the deposit. $200,000 Rs. It's gone. The developers angry. We need to know where he is." Jacob Sta read at him. He said nothing. Marcus's smile faded. "You know something?" "I know he ran," Jacob said. "I know he lied. I know he tried to steal my land. I know you helped him." Marcus took a step forward. Jacob did not step back. Marcus said, "You think you have power, old man. A piece of paper. A video. That's nothing. Crestview has lawyers. Crestview has money. Crestview has a lot of friends in this county. Friends who can make things happen." Jacob said, "Then make them happen." Marcus's hand went to his pocket. He pulled out a CA road white. Clean. He handed it to Jacob. "Call this number. Make a deal. Hand over the land. And we'll let you keep the house. And your daughter gets a payout. 5 million. Enough to start over." Jacob took the CA road. He looked at it. He folded it in half. Then he folded it again. He tucked it into his shirt pocket, next to his HRT. "I'll think about it," he said. Marcus smiled. "Do that. You have till sundown." He turned and walked back to his car. A black SUV. Dark, tinted windows. It drove away fast, kicking up gravel. Jacob watched it go. Then he pulled the card out of his pocket. He tore it into pieces. Small pieces. He dropped them on the ground. The wind caught them and ride them across the fields. He went back to the porch. He sat in the blue swing. He waited. Emily did not come back that night. Whitlock texted at 9 p.m., said the police had taken her statement. Said she was staying at a motel or the station. Said she needed time. Jacob did not sleep. He sat in the kitchen with a cup of coffee that went cold. He watched the security feeds. The barn was empty. The shed was empty. The driveway was empty. The black SUV had not returned. At 2 in the morning, a text came from an unknown number. It was a photo. Emily parked outside the motel. The photo was taken from across the street. Jacob zoomed in. A blurry figure stood in a street lamp. Hoodie. Dark jeans. Too tall to be Emily. Jacob called the motel. The front desk said Emily had checked in. She was in room 207. No one had gone to her room. No one had knocked. Jacob called Whitlock. Whitlock said he would send a deputy. The deputy arrived 15 minutes later. He parked in front of the motel. The figure under the street lamp was gone. Jacob read at the photo for an hour. Then he called Emily. She answered. Her voice was tired. Daddy, are you okay? I'm fine. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to figure out what to do. You don't have to do anything. I've got the lawyers. I've got the police. It's not about that, Emily said. It's about me. It's about what I missed. The signs. The lies. He was lying to me for years. And I didn't see it. Jacob said nothing. Emily continued. I went through his desk. Before I left the house, I found papers, receipts, contracts. He was talking to the developers for 6 months. 6 months, Daddy. And I had no idea. Jacob's hand tightened on the phone. What are you going to do? I'm going to make sure he pays. Not just for you. For me. For all of it. The line went quiet. Jacob heard Emily breathing. Then she said, Whitlock is going to help me file a separate civil suit. Against Derek. Against Crestview. Against everyone who knew. For fraud. For conspiracy. For emotional distress. Good, Jacob said. I also found something else, Emily said. Derek had a safe deposit box. At a bank in the city. I didn't know about it. But I found the key. It was in his sock drawer. Jacob leaned 4-way road, the Citibank. Which one? First National. Downtown. I'm going tomorrow. I'm going to open it. Emily, BCA refill. Those men, they're still out there. Derek might be with them. He might be. I can handle it, Emily said. Her voice was flat. Cold. He's not going to hurt me again. No one is. She hung up. Jacob sat in the dark kitchen. The coffee was stone cold. He poured it down the sink. He walked to the front porch. The dogs were asleep on the mat. The stars were out. The cornfields rustled in a light breeze that he did not sleep. He sat on the blue swing and watched the driveway. At dawn, he drove to the city. First National Bank. White marble. Brass doors. The lobby was quiet. A security guard watched him from behind a desk. Jacob approached the counter. A teller in a crisp blue blazer smiled. Good morning. How can I help you? Jacob pulled out the key. The one Emily had texted him a photo of. He had copied it. Made a duplicate. He had a locksmith friend. I need to access safe deposit box 714. The teller checked her computer. May I see your identification? Jacob showed his driver's license. The teller looked at it. Then she looked at the key. Then she looked at her screen. Mr. Hale, this box is registered to Derek Cross. Your name is not on the access list. I have power of attorney, Jacob said. His wife. My daughter. She's in the process of divorce. The box is marital property. I have a court order. He pulled out a document. Whitlock had read it the night before. A temporary restraining order. It granted access to all joint financial accounts and safe deposit boxes. The teller read it. She called a manager. The manager read it. Then she nodded. I'll need you to sign an access log. We'll open the box in a private room. The manager led him through a heavy steel door. Down a hallway. Into a room with a table and a single lamp. She placed the box on the table. Take your time. She left. Jacob read at the box. It was standard size. Metal. Gray. He inserted the key. Turned it. The lock clicked open. He lifted the lid. Inside were documents. Piles of them. Contracts. Deeds. Bank statements. A passport. A second passport, with a different name. A photo of Derek with M.A. Ruckus Webb and Leona Road Thorne, all three of them smiling. All three holding glasses of champagne. A receipt for a plane ticket. 2 tickets. One for Derek. One for Emily. The flight was for next week. Destination, Costa Rica. No return date. Jacob pulled out the contracts. One was with Crestview Holdings. It listed the terms of the sale, the fake bill of sale, the deposit, a timeline, a clause for accelerated disposition if the land transfer was not completed by the end of the month. Another contract was different. It was between Derek and M.A. Ruckus Webb. Personal. It promised M.A. Ruckus a 20% cut of the sale. In exchange, M.A. Ruckus would ensure operation from the county authorities. A bribe. Plain and simple. Jacob took photos of everything. He used his phone. He got clear or shots of every page, every signature, every nota re-stamped. Then he found the bank statements. Derek had 3 accounts. One was in his name. One was in the name of a shell company. The third was in Emily's name. He had been siphoning money from her account for 18 months. Small amounts at first, then larger ones. Thousands of dollars. She had not noticed. She had trusted him. Jacob's hands were steady. He did not react. He finished photographing. He placed everything back in the box. He locked it. He walked out of the private room, past the manager, past the teller, and out the front doors that he got in his truck. He called Whitlock. I have everything. Contracts. Bank statements. A passport. A plane ticket. The bribe. Whitlock was silent for a moment. Then he said, a plane ticket, 2 tickets. Derek and Emily. Costa Rica. Next week. Where is Derek now? Unknown. But he planned to leave. With Emily. He was going to take her with him. She didn't know. Whitlock cursed. That's kidnapping. Interstate, not even international. That's federal. We can get the FBI involved. Not yet, Jacob said. First, I need to confront him. I need to do it in public. I need everyone to see. Whitlock paused. Jacob. He's dangerous. M.A. Ruckus Webb. Leona Road Thorne. They're not just businessmen. They have records. Thorne did time for assault. Webb has 2 pending charges for intimidation. If you confront him, there might be violence. I know, Jacob said. Then why? Jacob looked at the bank building in his REA review mirror. The white marble gleamed in the morning sun. Because I want to watch him fall. I want him to know who did it. I want the cameras on him. I want the whole county to see what happens when you try to take what's not yours. Whitlock was quiet. Then he said, I'll be there. Where and when? Jacob thought. The livestock auction. Saturday. 3 o'clock. Everyone will be there. All the F.A. Ramirez. All the bankers. The press. He'll come. He can't resist a crowd. He'll know it's a trap. Good, Jacob said. That makes it better. He hung up. He drove back to the farm. The sun was high. The fields were green. The dogs ran to meet him as he pulled up the lane. He went into the barn. He checked the cameras. All of them were still transmitting. He opened the security app on his phone and positioned a camera in the hayloft. It had a wide lens. It would capture the entire auction floor. Then he went to the house. He sat at the kitchen table. He opened a drawer and pulled out a piece of paper. Blank. He wrote 3 words, Saturday. Auction. 3 p.m. He folded it. He put it in his pocket. He did not know where Derek was. He did not know if Derek would come. But he knew Derek's pride. Derek would not let a public humiliation go unanswered. Derek would want to fix it. Derek would want revenge. Saturday was 3 days away. Jacob spent the next 2 days preparing. He met with Whitlock twice. They refined the legal strategy. The civil suit would be filed Monday. The criminal charges would be filed Tuesday. The evidence from the safe deposit box would be part of both. He met with the sheriff. He showed him the bribe contract. The sheriff made a copy. He promised to have deputies at the auction. He met with a reporter from the county paper, the same one who had been at the ceremony. He showed her the video from the barn, the safe deposit box documents. The photo of Derek with M.A. Ruckus and Leona Road. The reporter asked, Why are you giving me this? Jacob said, Because I want it printed. Tomorrow. Front page. It will make sure Derek shows up. The reporter looked at the documents. Then she nodded. It will be in the morning edition. Friday came. Jacob woke before dawn. He walked the fields. The corn was high. The soybeans were thick. The creek was full from the rains. He stopped at the old oak NEA or the creek. He had hidden a camera there, deep in a hollow. He pulled it out. It had recorded something that he played the footage. The timestamp was 2 days ago. Late at night, a figure had come to the creek. Tall, broad. Derek. He had stood there for 10 minutes. Just sta ring at the water. Then he had pulled out a phone and made a call. The audio was faint. Jacob turned it up. He-he-rd, Derek's voice, low and urgent. I don't see a re what it takes. Stop the old man. Stop the daughter. I don't see a re how. Just do it. I'll pay double. The other voice was Ha Rider to Hiar. But Jacob caught a phrase. Auction. Saturday. We'll be there. Jacob pocketed the camera. He walked back to the house. His HRT was slow. His steps were steady that he called Emily. Tomorrow. Auction. Be there. But don't sit with me. Sit with Whitlock. Why? Because I need you to watch. And I need you to be a witness. If anything happens, you call the sheriff. You call the FBI. You do not approach him. Understand? Emily's voice was quiet. Daddy, what are you going to do? Jacob looked out the kitchen window. The fields stretched to the horizon. The sky was clear. The heat shimmered over the corn. I'm going to finish it, he said. He hung up. He walked to the barn. He checked the camera in the hay loft one more time. The lens was clear. The battery was full. The feed was live. Then he went back to the house. He sat on the porch. He watched the sun go down. The dogs lay at his feet. The swing creaked in the breeze. Saturday was coming. And Derek would be there. Saturday arrived with a sky the color of hammered tin. The heat pressed down like a lid. Jacob woke at 4, before the sun, and walked the fence line one last time. The bed wire was taut. The posts were solid. He checked the lock on the main gate. He checked the lock on the tool shed. He checked the camera in the hay loft through his phone. The feed was crisp. The battery was 97%. He showered. He put on the same brown suit. The elbows were thinner now. The collar was more frayed. He did not see a re. He tied his boots. He walked to the truck. The livestock auction was held in a metal building on the edge of town. A long, low structure with a corrugated roof and a dirt floor worn smooth by decades of boots and hooves. The pens were along the back wall. The bleachers rose in staggered rows on both sides. The auctioneer's platform sat dead center, a raised wooden box with a microphone and a small desk. By noon, the lot was full. Pickups and trailers packed the gravel expanse. F.A. Ramirez leaned against tailgates, drinking coffee from thermoses. Bankers in sta-urged shirts stood NEA or the entrance, pretending to check their phones. The reporter from the county paper had claimed a spot in the front row of the bleachers. Her notebook was open. Her pen was ready. Jacob arrived at 2:15. He parked at the F.A. end of the lot. He walked through the main doors. The smell hit him first. Hay, dust, animal sweat, the low murmur of 100 conversations. He scanned the crowd. He saw CA roll NEA or the coffee stand. He saw Whitlock in the third row, a legal pad on his knee. He saw Emily in the row behind Whitlock, her face pale, her hands clasped in her lap. He did not wave. He did not nod. He walked to the auctioneer's platform and climbed the 3 wooden steps. The auctioneer, a beefy man named Roy, looked up from his notes. Jake, you're EARLY. We don't START till 3. I know, Jacob said. I need to use the microphone. Just for a minute. Roy frowned. What for? Jacob pulled out the folded paper from his pocket. The one with 3 words. He unfolded it and showed it to Roy. Roy read it. His frown deepened. Jake, this is a livestock auction, not a courthouse. This is my land, Jacob said. And this is the last time I'm going to say it in public. Roy looked at him for a long moment. Then he nodded. He stepped off the platform and gestured to the microphone. It's yours, but make it fast. The buyers restless. Jacob stepped behind the podium. He adjusted the microphone. The feedback squealed. The crowd turned. The murmur died. He said, My name is Jacob Hale. Some of you know me. Some of you don't. I own 500 acres on the north side of the county. I leased it to my son-in-law, Derek Cross. He tried to steal it. He forged a bill of sale. He took a deposit from a developer. He plotted with men who were not from this county. He planned to sell every acre and leave my daughter with nothing. The crowd was silent. A man NEA or the back coughed. Another shifted his weight. Jacob continued. I have proof. I have video. I have documents. I have a signed injunction from Judge Vance. The land is frozen. It cannot be sold. It cannot be transferred. It cannot be touched. He paused. He looked across the crowd. He found the back row. The three men were not there. Mayor Cuss Webb was not there. Leona Thorne was not there. Hank Driscoll was not there. But Derek was. Derek stood in the main entrance. He wore a arcade jacket and jeans. His hair was uncombed. His eyes were red-rimmed. He had a duffel bag slung over one shoulder. The crowd root around him like water around a stone. They did not touch him. They did not speak to him. They just moved. Derek walked four-way road. He did not run. He did not shout. He walked with slow, deliberate steps. His boots left prints in the dust. He stopped 10 feet from the platform. Jacob, he said. His voice was low, flat. You think you've won. Jacob did not move. He kept his hands on the podium. I think you made a mistake. Derek laughed. A short, hollow sound. You think a piece of paper stops me. You think a video stops me. You think a judge stops me. You don't know what I've done. You don't know what I'm capable of. I know you took $200,000 RS from Crestview, Jacob said. I know you put it in a shell account. I know you bought 2 plane tickets to Costa Rica. One for you. One for Emily. I know you planned to take her without telling her. Derek's face flickered. The red-rimmed eyes widened. The duffel bag slipped on his shoulder. He caught it. He held it tighter. She doesn't know, Jacob said. She didn't know about the tickets. She didn't know about the money. She didn't know about any of it. She thought she was ma ride to a man who loved her. She was wrong. Derek's hand went to his pocket. The left one. It hovered. Jacob tracked the movement. He did not flinch. Step down, Derek said. Step down and we can talk. We can make a deal. I'll give you back the deposit. I'll walk away. I'll disappear. You never have to see me again. Jacob shook his head. I don't make deals with thieves. Derek's hand moved into his pocket. He pulled out a phone. He held it up. You think you're the only one with evidence. I have photos. I have documents. I have recordings of you. Old recordings. You saying things you shouldn't have said. You complaining about the bank. About the taxes. About Emily. About your neighbors. The crowd stirred. A woman gasped. A man muttered something low. Jacob watched the phone. He watched Derek's thumb hover over the screen. He said, play them. Derek hesitated. Play them, Jacob said again. His voice was steady. Play them for everyone. Show them what you have. Derek's thumb pressed the screen. The phone crackled. A voice came through. Jacob's voice. Old. Tired. Complaining about the cost of fertilizer. The price of corn. The broken fence line. The neighbor's dog that kept chasing his cattle. The crowd listened. They did not react. They knew all of it. They had said the same things themselves. Derek's face went pale. He stopped the recording. He looked at the phone. He looked at the crowd. He looked at Jacob. That's all you have, Jacob said. Complaints. From a tired old man. You think that's evidence? You think that's leverage? Derek shoved the phone back into his pocket. He took a step closer. His voice dropped to a whisper, but the microphone caught it. You don't understand. Crestview is not going to stop. They have lawyers. They have money. They have people who will make your life a living hell. You think the auction is safe. You think the courthouse is safe. You think Emily is safe. Jacob stepped off the platform. He walked down the 3 steps. He stood face to face with Derek. He was shorter, older. His shoulders were stooped from 40 years of lifting hay bales. He said, I've been on this land for 40 years. I've faced drought. I've faced floods. I've faced bankers who tried to take my farm. I've faced my own body breaking down. I've faced worse than you, Derek. Much worse. Derek's hand moved again. This time it went to his jacket. The left side. Jacob saw the outline of something rode something metal. Derek pulled out a knife. Folding blade. Black handle. He flicked it open. The blade caught the fluorescent light. The crowd gasped. People scrambled backway road. A woman screamed. Whitlock stood up. Emily stood up. The reporter dropped her notebook. Jacob did not move. Derek held the knife low. His hand was shaking. I'm not going to jail, he said. I'm not going to lose everything. I'm going to walk out of here. And you're going to let me. Jacob looked at the knife. He looked at Derek's hand. The shaking was getting worse. The blade was wobbling. He said, You're going to stab an old man in front of 600 witnesses. That's your plan. Derek's jaw tightened. His grip on the knife tightened. He took a half-step 4-way road. Then the doors burst open. Deputies. 4 of them. Sheriff's uniforms. Badges. Guns drawn. The lead deputy shouted, Drop the weapon. Derek froze. The knife wobbled. He looked from the deputies to Jacob. His eyes were wild. His breath was fast. "Drop it," the deputy shouted again. Derek looked at Jacob. His face crumpled. The mask of rage fell away. Underneath was panic. Pure and naked. He dropped the knife. It hit the dirt floor with a soft thump. The deputies moved in. They grabbed his ARMs. They twisted them behind his back. They snapped handcuffs on his wrists. They read him his rights. He did not resist. He did not speak. His eyes were on Jacob the whole time. Emily walked four-way road. She stopped a few feet from Derek. She looked at him. She did not cry. She did not scream. She just looked. "I trusted you," she said. "I loved you. And you were going to take me to Costa Rica. Without telling me. Without asking. You were going to steal my father's land and drag me halfway across the world." Derek opened his mouth. No words came out. The deputies pulled him toward the doors. He stumbled. His boots dragged through the dust. The crowd root again. They watched him go. Jacob watched too. He watched until the doors swung shut. Then he turned to the crowd. He picked up the knife. He closed the blade. He tucked it into his pocket. "The auction," he said. "Starts in 10 minutes. I'll be buying cattle. Same as always." The crowd stood frozen. Then a man in a checkered shirt laughed. A nervous, shaky laugh. Others followed. The tension broke. Jacob walked to the bleachers. He sat next to Whitlock. He did not look at Emily. He did not look at the doors. Roy the auctioneer climbed back onto the platform. He read his throat. He tapped the microphone. "All right, folks. We got cattle to move. Let's get to it." The auction began. The bids root low. The rhythm of the chant filled the building. Jacob did not bid. He watched. He waited. Emily walked over. She sat on his other side. She leaned close. Her voice was Relia whispered, "Where's the rest of it? The other evidence. The safe deposit box." "In my truck," Jacob said. "When are you going to use it?" Jacob looked at the platform. Roy was selling a pen of yearlings. The bids were climbing. "On Monday," he said. "Monday, I file the civil suit. Tuesday, the criminal charges. The FBI will be involved. The bribe is a federal offense. The kidnapping attempt is a federal offense. The plane tickets, interstate commerce. That's a federal crime." Emily nodded. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "He's going to prison. He's going to prison," Jacob said. The auction continued. The dust rose. The heat built. Jacob sat in the bleachers and watched the cattle sell. His hands were still. His breath was even. He did not smile. He did not frown. Marcus Webb was still out there. Leona Road Thorne was still out there. Crestview was still out there. They had not shown up at the auction. They had sent Derek alone. They had let him walk into the trap. That was not surrender. That was retreat. And retreat was not the same as defeat. Jacob knew that. He had known it since the day he found the first camera footage. The fight was not over. The auction was just one battle. The courthouse was another. The police station was another. The federal building was another. He stood up. He walked out of the auction building. The sun hit his face. The heat was brutal. He walked to his truck. He opened the door. He sat in the driver's seat. He pulled out his phone. He opened the security app. He checked the BARN camera. The feed was clear. The BARN was empty. He checked the house camera. The porch was empty. The RD was empty. He checked the camera the creek. The one in the hollow of the old oak. The feed showed a figure. Standing by the water. Watching. Marcus Webb. Jacob watched the screen. Marcus stood still. He was looking at the water. Then he turned. He looked directly at the camera. He raised his hand. He waved. Jacob put the phone down. He root the truck. He drove RD the creek. The truck bounced over the rutted track that led to the creek. Jacob drove with one hand on the wheel and one hand on his phone. The camera feed was still live. Marcus Webb had not moved. He was still standing at the water's edge, still facing the camera, still waving. Jacob killed the engine 100 yards from the creek. He got out. He walked. His boots found the familiar path through the tall grass. The heat was thick. The cicadas were loud. He did not hurry. Marcus turned as Jacob approached. The wave stopped. The smile was still there, but it was thinner now. "Tighter, Mr. Hale," Marcus said. "I thought you'd be at the auction." "I was," Jacob said. "I left the ARLY." Marcus nodded. He looked at the water. The creek was shallow here, rely knee-deep. The sun made the surface glitter. "Nice spot. Quiet. I can see why you like it." Jacob stopped 10 feet away. He kept his hands at his sides. You came to my land. Twice now. You threatened me. You bribed my son-in-law. You conspired to steal my farm. You're on camera. You're on record. You're going to prison. Americus laughed. A low, easy sound. You think prison SCA residential me? I've been inside. Twice. 3 times if you count the county lockup. It's a vacation. 3 meals. A bed. I got friends in there. Your friends won't help you with a federal RGE. Americus's smile flickered. Just a little. Federal RGE. The bribe. The plane tickets. The conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Crestview used the mail. They used interstate wires. That makes it federal. The FBI is coming. They're already looking at your file. Americus was quiet. He looked at the water. He picked up a flat stone and skipped it across the surface. It bounced 4 times before sinking. You've been busy, Americus said. I've been paying attention, Jacob said. That's different. Americus turned. He looked at Jacob with cold, flat eyes. You think you know the whole picture? You don't. Crestview is not just a developer. They're connected. Politicians, judges, law enforcement, people who owe them favors, people who will make sure this never sees a courtroom. I already showed the video to Judge Vance, Jacob said. He signed the injunction. He saw the forgery. He saw the bribe. He knows. Americus shook his head. Judge Vance is one man. He's old. He's tired. He's got 2 years left on the bench. He's not going to start or with Crestview. He's going to retire quiet and collect his pension. Then I'll take it to the federal court. Good luck with that. The federal judge in this district is a Crestview shari holder. Not a big one, but enough. He'll recuse himself, or he'll dismiss, or he'll drag it out for Yaris. By then, you'll be dead, or broke, or both. Jacob did not react. He had HRD threats before. He had HRD them from bankers. He had HRD them from tax collectors. He had HRD them from neighbors who wanted his water rights. Threats were just words. Words had no weight. Americus took a step closer. I'm going to give you one more chance. One more. Hand over the land. Keep the house. Keep the farm equipment. Keep the cattle. Walk away with enough money to live on for the rest of your life. I'm not asking. I'm telling. Jacob looked at him. You're telling me on my own land. With no backup. No weapon. No leverage. Americus's hand went to his jacket. The same movement Derek had made. But Americus did not pull out a knife. He pulled out a phone. He held it up. I have people, he said. I have men who are re-watching your daughter right now. I have men who are re-watching your lawyer. I have men who are re-watching your house. If anything happens to me, if I don't make a call in the next hour, they move. Jacob's pulse did not change. His breathing did not change. He had been waiting for this. He had known Americus would try something. He said, You don't have anyone watching, Emily. Americus's smile returned. Oh, I do. I have a man in a gray sedan. He's parked outside the motel. He's been there since last night. Jacob pulled out his own phone. He tapped the screen. He pulled up a photo. A gray sedan. Parked outside the motel. The license plate was clear R. The driver's face was visible through the windshield. I have a photo, Jacob said. Taken 20 minutes ago. By a deputy. I called him before I left the auction. He's sitting in an UNMA CA across the street. He's waiting for your man to make a move. Americus's face went blank. The smile was gone. The cold eyes were colder. Jacob continued. I also have a man watching Whitlock. A state trooper. He's parked outside Whitlock's office. He's been there since 8 this morning. Your man never showed. Americus's jaw tightened. He looked at the phone in his hand. His thumb hovered over the screen. Don't, Jacob said. The call won't go through. I had the tower jammed. Just the one. Just the one NEA or the motel. Your man can't receive it. He can't send it. He's sitting in his CA or with a dead phone. Americus lowered his phone. He read at Jacob. The mask was completely gone now. Underneath was a man who was not used to losing. A man who was not used to being outmaneuvered. You're bluffing. Americus said. Jacob pulled out a second phone. This one was a burner. He tapped the screen. A video began to play. It showed Americus at the creek, standing exactly where he was standing now. But the timestamp was 2 hours earlier. He was talking to someone off camera. A man in a dark suit. The same man who had been at the ceremony. Leona Road Thorne. The audio was clear. Americus's voice. The old man is going to be at the auction. We move on the daughter. Grab her. Take her to the Wari house. Hold her until he signs. Jacob stopped the video. He looked at Mayor Cust. You were planning to kidnap my daughter. You were planning to hold her hostage. You were planning to use her as leverage. Mayor Cust took a step back. His foot slipped on the bank. He caught himself. Jacob stepped four-way road. That video is already with the sheriff. It's already with the FBI. It's already with the district attorney. You are not walking away from this. You are not making a call. You are not leaving this county. Mayor Cust's hand went to his jacket again. This time, it came out with a gun. A small revolver. Black. He pointed it at Jacob's chest. Back up, Mayor Cust said. His voice was shaking. Back up, old man. Jacob did not move. He looked at the gun. He looked at Mayor Cust's hand. The shaking was worse now. The BA was wobbling. You're not going to shoot me, Jacob said. You're not a killer. You're a fixer. You're a middleman. You break legs. You make threats. You don't pull triggers. Mayor Cust's finger tightened on the trigger. The gun wobbled. His face was pale. Sweat beaded on his forehead. You don't know me, Mayor Cust said. You don't know what I've done. I know you've never killed anyone, Jacob said. I checked. Your record is long, but it's clean of that. You're a bully. Bullies don't kill. Bullies threaten. There's a difference. Mayor Cust's hand was shaking harder now. The gun was pointed at Jacob's chest, but the BA was dancing. He could not hold it steady. His breath was fast and shallow. Jacob took a step four-way road. Then another. He was close enough to touch the BA. He did not reach for it. He looked into Mayor Cust's eyes. Put the gun down, Jacob said. Put it down and walk away. You'll still go to prison, but it will be a shorter sentence. You'll get out in 10 years. You'll have a life. You'll be old, but you'll be alive. Mayor Cust read at him. The gun was still shaking. The sweat was dripping down his face. Then he RD it. Sirens. FAR off. Getting closer. Blue lights flashed through the trees. The deputies were coming. They had been waiting. They had been watching. Mayor Cust looked at the lights. He looked at the gun. He looked at Jacob. He lowered the gun. His ARM dropped to his side. The revolver slipped from his fingers and hit the dirt with a dull thud. He said, You planned this. The whole thing. The auction. The creek. The call. The jammer. You planned all of it. Jacob did not answer. The deputies arrived. They remed the creek. They grabbed Mayor Cust. They cuffed him. They read him his rights. He did not resist. He did not speak. He just read at Jacob with hollow eyes. One of the deputies picked up the revolver. He bagged it. Another deputy took Jacob's burner phone. The video was evidence. The lead deputy walked over. You okay, Mr. Hale? Jacob nodded. I'm fine. We got him. We got the gun. We got the video. We got the confession. He's not going anywhere. Jacob looked at Mayor Cust. He was being led to a cruiser. His head was down. His shoulders were slumped. Take him, Jacob said. I'll file the report at the station tomorrow. The deputy nodded. The cruisers pulled away. The sirens faded. The creek went quiet. Jacob stood alone at the water's edge. He picked up a flat stone. He skipped it across the surface. It bounced 5 times before sinking. He walked back to his truck. He got in. He drove to the house. The dogs met him at the gate. He did not pet them. He walked up the steps. He sat in the blue swing. He pulled out his phone. The security app was still open. The BARN camera was clear. The house camera was clear. The camera NEA the creek was clear. He switched to the camera NEA the highway. The one mounted on the old silo. A black SUV was parked on the shoulder. DARK, tinted windows. Engine running. Leon ARD Thorn. Jacob watched the SUV. It did not move. It sat there, idling, facing Tower RD the FARM. He put the phone down. He looked at the fields. The corn was high. The soybeans were thick. The sky was beginning to darken. He sat in the swing and waited. The black SUV did not move for 2 hours. Jacob watched it from the porch, the phone in his hand, the security feed steady on the screen. The engine idled. The windows stayed dark. No one got out. No one drove away. At 7 o'clock, the sun dipped below the ridge. The fields turned gold, then amber, then gray. The SUV's headlights flicked on. Twin beams cut through the dusk. The vehicle pulled off the shoulder and rolled down the county road. Slow, deliberate. It passed the FARM lane. It did not turn in. It kept going. Jacob watched until the taillights disappeared red. Then he went inside. He ate a sandwich standing at the kitchen counter. He drank a glass of water. He checked the cameras one more time. The barn was empty. The shed was empty. The creek was emptied. He called Whitlock. Whitlock answered on the first ringed. Mayor Cuss is in custody. They booked him on assault with a deadly weapon. The federal charges will come Monday. The FBI is already reviewing the video. Leona R.D. Thorne is still out there, Jacob said. He parked on the shoulder for 2 hours. Watched the FARM. Then drove off. He's testing you. Seeing if you'll break. I won't break. I know. But he doesn't know that. He's going to try something. Tonight or tomorrow. He's not going to let Mayor Cuss go down alone. He's going to try to fix it. Jacob leaned against the counter. I have cameras everywhere. He can't get any or the house without being recorded. He doesn't need to get any or the house. He needs to get any you. And he knows you're not going to stay inside forever. Jacob was quiet. He looked out the kitchen window. The yard was dark. The dogs were lying any or the gate. Their EARS were up. They were watching something. I'll be ready, Jacob said that he hung up. He walked to the front door. He opened it. The dogs stood up. They did not bark. They looked at the tree line. Jacob followed their gaze. The darkness was thick. The wind was still. He saw nothing. He went back inside. He locked the door. He checked the windows. All locked. He went to the bedroom. He pulled a rifle from the back of the closet. Old. Bolt action. He had used it for coyotes. He loaded it. He leaned it against the wall or the front door. He sat in the living room. He did not turn on the lights. He watched the security feed on his phone. The barn camera. The shed camera. The creek camera. The silo camera. The highway camera. Nothing moved. At 11. The highway camera picked up a vehicle. A sedan. Dark color. It passed the FARM lane. It did not slow. It kept going. At 11:30, another vehicle. A truck. Dark color. It passed the FARM lane. It did not slow. At midnight, a third vehicle. This one slowed. It stopped at the end of the lane. The headlights went to RK. The engine killed. Jacob stood. He picked up the rifle. He walked to the front door. He opened it. The dogs were standing at the gate. Their hackles were raised. They were growling low in their throats. Jacob walked to the gate. He did not turn on the porch light. He stood in the dark. He watched the vehicle. It was a black SUV. Same one. Leona Road Thorne. The driver's door opened. A man got out. Tall. Broad. The flat SCA red jaw caught the STA light. Leona Road Thorne. He walked to the gate. He stopped on the other side. He did not touch the latch. Mr. Hale, he said. His voice was deep. Calm. We need to talk. Jacob leveled the rifle. Not pointed at Thorne. Pointed at the ground beside him. A warning. You're trespassing, Jacob said. Thorne held up his hands. Empty. Palms out. I'm not here to fight. I'm here to negotiate. Negotiate what? Thorne tilted his head. Mayor Cuss is in jail. Derek is in jail. The deal is dead. Crestview is pulling back. They're cutting their losses. They've already sold the other parcels to a different developer. The casino is moving to the McAllister property. You won. It's over. Jacob did not lower the rifle. Then why are you here? Thorne was quiet for a moment. He looked at the ground. He looked at the STARS. Then he looked back at Jacob. I need a favor, he said. Jacob waited. Thorne continued. Mayor Cuss had something. A file. A list. Names. Payments. Dates. It's in his possession, and it's going to come out in the trial. That list includes me. It includes a lot of people. People who would rather not be on it. People who pay well to stay off it. You want me to destroy the evidence. I want you to make it to SAP AR. The file, the list, the paper trail. All of it. Before the trial, STARTS. Jacob STA read at him. The rifle was still in his hands. His finger was outside the trigger. Guard. Why would I do that? Thorne smiled. It was a thin, unpleasant smile. Because I have something you want. Information. About your daughter. About Derek. About the trip to Costa Rica. There's more to it than you know. Tell me. Not here. Not now. You help me. I help you. That's the deal. Jacob did not answer. He looked at Thorne. He looked at the RK fields. He looked at the dogs. Their growling had stopped. They were watching Thorne with flat, wary eyes. I'll think about it, Jacob said. Thorne nodded. You have till Monday morning. The trial, STARTS. The evidence gets entered. After that, I can't stop it. He turned. He walked back to the SUV. He got in. The engine sta root. The headlights flicked on. He drove away fast, kicking up dust. Jacob stood at the gate for a long time. The rifle hung at his side. The dog sat at his feet. The night was quiet. The stars were bright, but he went back inside. He locked the door. He sat in the living room. He did not sleep. At 2 in the morning, he called Whitlock. He told him about Thorne's visit, about the file, about the list, about the deal. Whitlock was silent for a long moment. Then he said, "He's bluffing. He doesn't have information about Emily. He's trying to get you to destroy evidence so he can walk." He said the list includes names, payments, dates. He said it would come out in the trial. If there is a list, we'll find it. Marcus's phone, his computer, his accounts. We'll get a warrant. We'll seize everything. If Thorne is on that list, he's going down with the rest of them. Jacob leaned four-way road. What about Emily? What if he does know something? Whitlock paused. I'll put a detail on her. State troopers. 24/7. If Thorne tries anything, they'll be there. He doesn't want to hurt her. He wants leverage. He wants me to destroy the evidence. Then don't give him what he wants. Jacob hung up. He sat in the dark. He thought about Thorne's offer, about the list, about the names, about the payments. He thought about Derek, about the plane tickets, about the safe deposit box, about the bank statements. He thought about Emily, about her face in the motel room, about her voice on the phone, about the way she had said, "I trusted him." He got up. He walked to the bedroom. He pulled the safe deposit box documents from the drawer. The photos, the contracts, the bank statements, the passport, the tickets. He spread them on the kitchen table. He looked at each one. He read every line. He checked every signature. He searched for anything about Emily, anything about the trip, anything that Thorne might know. If there was nothing, the trip was planned. The tickets were bought. The destination was set. But there was no note, no letter, no instruction about what to do with Emily once they arrived. Jacob sat back. He read at the ceiling. He thought about Thorne's face, the thin smile, the calm voice. He was lying. Jacob knew it. He had seen the same lies on Derek's face, on Marcus's face, on the faces of bankers who had tried to take his land before he got up. He packed the documents back into the drawer. He locked the drawer. He went back to the living room. He sat in the chair by the window. The rifle was still in the door. He watched the driveway. At 4 in the morning, the security camera at the barn picked up motion. A figure, moving fast, low to the ground. It entered the barn through the side door. Jacob watched the feed. The figure was wearing RK clothes, a hood, gloves. It moved to the hay loft. It stood in the camera. It reached up. The screen went black. Jacob stood. He grabbed the rifle. He walked to the front door. He opened it. The dogs were at the gate. King. The night was cold. The wind had picked up. He walked to the barn. He did not run. He walked slow. His boots crunched the gravel. The dogs followed. He reached the barn door. It was open. The side door. The one the figure had used. He stepped inside. The darkness was thick. He smelled hay and dust and something else. Something chemical. Gasoline. He pulled out his phone. He turned on the flashlight. The beam cut through the dark. The floor was wet. A trail of liquid led from the side door to the hay loft, to the camera, to the FAR wall. The figure was gone. But the trail was fresh. The smell was strong. Jacob followed the trail. It led to a pile of hay, soaked, dripping. A matchbook lay on top, open. One match missing. Jacob looked up. The camera was dead. The wire was cut. The figure had disabled it, then spread the gasoline, then left. He backed away. He walked out of the barn. He called Whitlock. Thorne came back, Jacob said. He doused the barn in gasoline. He cut the camera. He tried to burn it down. Whitlock's voice was Shah RP. Are you okay? I'm fine. The barn is still standing. He didn't light it. Then why? He wanted me to know he could. He wanted to show me he could get close. He wanted me to know the deal is still on the table. Whitlock cursed. I'm calling the sheriff. Stay away from the barn. Don't go back in. Jacob stood in the road. The dogs circled him. The barn loomed RK and silent. The gasoline smell hung in the air. He looked at the fields, the corn, the soybeans, the creek, the old oak, the land he had worked for 40 years. He turned and walked to the house. He sat on the porch. The rifle across his knees, he waited for dawn. Dawn broke, gray and cold. Jacob sat on the porch with the rifle across his knees. He had not slept. His eyes were dry. His hands were steady. The dogs lay at his feet, alert, watching the tree line. The sheriff arrived at 6. 2 cruisers. A forensic van. They cordoned off the BARN. They took samples of the gasoline. They photographed the matchbook. They dusted for prints. The lead deputy, a woman named Reyes, walked over to the porch. "Mr. Hale," she said, "we found a power tile print on the matchbook. We're running it now. If it's Thorne's, we'll have a warrant by noon." Jacob nodded. "He came here last night. Offer me a deal. Destroy the evidence. He gives me information about my daughter." I said no. He came back and doused the BARN. Reyes wrote in her notebook. "Did he threaten you directly? He showed me what he could do. He wanted me to know he could get close." Reyes looked at the BARN. The forensic team was still working. The smell of gasoline hung heavy. "He's escalating. We need to get you somewhere safe." "I'm not leaving my land." "Mr. Hale," I said, "I'm not leaving." Reyes looked at him. She saw the rifle. She saw the dogs. She saw the set of his jaw. She nodded. "Then we'll put a CAR at the end of the lane. 24 hours. If Thorne comes back, we'll be here." She walked back to the BARN. Jacob watched her go. He did not move. At 8, Whitlock arrived. He parked behind the cruisers. He walked to the porch. He did not sit. "Thorne made a mistake," Whitlock said. "The print came back. It's his. The warrant is being signed as we speak. He's going to be arrested for arson and breaking and entering. The federal charges already pending." Jacob looked up. "When?" "Within the hour. They know where he is. He's at a motel on the edge of town. They're moving now." Jacob stood. He leaned the rifle against the porch railing. "I want to be there." Whitlock read at him. "Why?" "Because I want to see his face. I want him to know it's over." Whitlock hesitated. Then he nodded. "I'll drive." They took Whitlock's truck. They drove fast down the county road. The fields blurred past. The sky was still gray. The heat was building. They reached the motel in 15 minutes. The parking lot was full of cruisers. Deputies in tactical state troopers. A man in an FBI jacket stood the entrance. He was holding a tablet that Whitlock parked. They got out. The FBI agent walked over to Mr. Whitlock. "Mr. Hale, we have him. Room 112. He's not resisting. He's waiting." Jacob walked to room 112. The door was open. Deputies stood in the hallway. Thorne sat on the edge of the bed. His hands were cuffed behind his back. His face was blank. He looked at Jacob as he walked in. "Mr. Hale," Thorne said. His voice was flat. "You came to watch." "I came to make sure you know," Jacob said. "It's over. The deal is off. The evidence is filed. The trial is set. You're going to prison." Thorne smiled. Thin. Unpleasant. "You think you won. You think this is the end. You don't know what's coming. I know you're going to prison. I know Mayor Cuss is going to prison. I know Derek is going to prison. I know Crestview is pulling out. I know the casino is moving to the McAllister property. I know the land is safe." Thorne leaned 4-way road. His eyes were cold. "You know nothing. The list I mentioned. The one Mayor Cuss had. It's not just names. It's not just payments. It's a blueprint. A plan. Crestview has been buying land in this county for 5 years, quietly, through shell companies. They own 40% of the county already. Your land was just one piece. The biggest piece. But not the only one." Jacob did not react. Thorne continued. "You stopped the sale. You stopped the casino. But you didn't stop Crestview. They're still here. They're still buying. They're still building. They're just doing it on other land. Your neighbor's land. The McAllisters. The Binghams. The folks who sold out when the price got high. You stopped the casino on your land. But the casino is still coming. It's just going to be on the other side of the creek." Jacob looked at him. He had known that. He had known since Whitlock told him about the other parcels. The casino was coming. The resort was coming. The condos were coming. Not on his land, but close enough to change everything. Thorne smiled wider. "You're going to have a resort next door? Golf courses. Tourists. Traffic. Noise. Lights. Your land is going to be worthless for FA remain. Your cattle going to be spooked. Your crops going to fail. You won't be able to sell. You won't be able to live. You're going to lose it all anyway. Just slower." Jacob stood in the doorway. He looked at Thorne. He said nothing. Thorne leaned back. "You should have taken the deal. Destroy the evidence. Let me walk. I would have made sure the resort stayed away from your borders. I had pull. I could have moved the property line. I could have kept the noise down. I could have protected you. Now you're on your own. Jacob stepped closer. He stood over Thorn. He looked down at him. You think I see a re about the resort, Jacob said. You think I see a re about the tourists. The traffic. The noise. You think I haven't thought about it. Thorn looked up. His smile faltered. Jacob continued. I've been on this land for 40 years. I've seen it change. I've seen the town grow. I've seen the highways widen. I've seen the farms shrink. I know what's coming. I knew before you showed up. I knew before Derek showed up. I knew the first time Crestview sent a surveyor to my property line. He paused. His voice was low, cold. You think you have a card left to play. You think that resort is going to break me. You think I haven't already planned for it. I have a conservation easement. Filed 6 years ago. With the county. With the state. With the federal government. My land is protected. Forever. No resort. No condos. No golf course. No nothing. It stays farm land until I die, and after I die, it goes to a land trust. It will never be developed. Not in my lifetime. Not in yours. Not in anyone's. Thorn's face went pale. His eyes widened. You're lying. Jacob pulled out his phone. He pulled up a document. The conservation easement. Signed. Sealed. Filed. He showed it to Thorn. This is what I was doing when Derek was plotting. When M.A. or Cuss was bribing. When you were threatening. I was protecting my land. Not with lawsuits. Not with cameras. With a piece of paper that no developer can touch. Crestview can build their resort on the other side of the creek. They can build it on the moon. It doesn't matter. My land is safe. Thorn read at the phone. His mouth opened. No words came out. Jacob put the phone away. He stepped back. He looked at the deputies. Take him, he said. The deputies moved in. They pulled Thorn to his feet. They led him out of the room. He did not resist. He did not speak. He just read at Jacob with hollow eyes. Jacob walked out of the motel. The sun had broken through the clouds. The heat was building. Whitlock was waiting by the truck. Conservation easement, Whitlock said. You never told me. I never told anyone, Jacob said. It was my last CA road. I kept it hidden, just in case. Whitlock shook his head. A slow, admiring shake. You played it perfectly. Jacob got in the truck. They drove back to the farm. The fields were green. The corn was high. The soybeans were thick. The creek glittered in the sun. They pulled up the lane. The dogs ran to meet them. The barn was still cordoned off. The forensic team was packing up. Jacob got out. He walked to the porch. He sat in the blue swing. He looked at his land. Whitlock walked over. What now? Jacob did not answer. He looked at the fields. He looked at the creek. He looked at the old oak. He looked at the sky. He said, now I wait. He sat in the swing. The dogs lay at his feet. The sun climbed higher. The heat pressed down. The corn rustled in the breeze. He did not move. He did not smile. He did not speak. He just watched. He sat in the blue swing long after Whitlock left. The dogs stayed at his feet, noses twitching at the breeze that ride the last traces of gasoline from the barn. The forensic team packed their van and drove away. The deputies at the end of the lane remained, engine idling, watching the road. Jacob pulled out his phone. He opened the security app. The barn camera was still dead. He would replace it tomorrow. The house camera was live. The creek camera was live. The silo camera was live. The screen showed empty fields, still corn, unmoving shadows. He switched to the highway camera. A silver sedan crawled past. Out-of-state plates. It did not slow. It continued east. He watched it disappear over the ridge. He put the phone down. He looked at his hands. Calloused. Veined. Steady. He had held that rifle all night, and his hands had not trembled. He had looked at Thorn's gun, and his hands had not trembled. He had faced all of them, one by one, and his hands had not trembled. The sun was high now. The heat was oppressive. The corn rustled, a low dry sound. The creek glittered in the distance. The old oak stood guard at the water's edge. Jacob rose from the swing. He walked down the porch steps. The dogs followed. He walked past the barn, past the cordoned array, past the yellow tape that fluttered in the wind. He walked to the edge of the cornfield. He looked across the rows of green stalks that stretched to the horizon. Somewhere beyond that horizon, Crestview was already building. Bulldozers and cranes and concrete. The resort would rise. The golf course would see a of the land. The lights would burn all night. But not here. He turned and looked back at his house. The blue swing. The white clapaway road. The tin roof that needed replacing. The fence line that needed mending. The yard that needed mowing. It was his. All of it. Every inch. Every acre. Every stone that he walked to the old oak NEA or the creek. He reached into the hollow and pulled out a small camera. The one he had hidden there years ago. The one that had recorded Derek at night. The one that had captured Marcus at dawn. He held it in his palm. Then he dropped it into the creek. It sank slowly, to sap a ring into the brown water. He walked back to the porch. He sat in the blue swing. The dogs curled at his feet. The heat pressed down. The corn rustled. The creek murmured that he looked at the sky. The clouds were thin. The sun was bright. The day was long that he did not plan. He did not celebrate. He did not look back at the motel or the courthouse or the jail. He did not think about Derek or Marcus or Thorn. They were gone. They were done. They were not coming back. That the land was still there. The corn was still growing. The creek was still flowing. That was enough. Jacob closed his eyes. The swing creaked. The wind blew. The dogs slept. He waited.